Alrighty, guys, we talked a little bit ago about the fact that John Lithgow had been in talks, and he was very close to signing on to play none other than one of the greatest fantasy characters in all of fiction, Albus Dumbledore. And I said at the time, in a segment, you can go check out the previous segment in a previous episode of the Access Blockbusters Pod, but I said at the time that, look, it's a two-sided thing for me, right? Number one, you get good talent. You always try to get the best talent that you can, and John Lithgow is very, very talented. He's also American, which is very interesting that they're going into the American pool of actors and not exclusively looking at British actors. Anyways, all that aside, he is very, very talented. He's one of the most respected actors working today. The other side of that coin is that he's a little bit older. And I don't mean to say that in a morbid kind of way. I just mean to say in an objective way that this Harry Potter series is meant to go on for maybe 10 years, something like that. 7 seasons and maybe 10 years. That seems reasonable. And that honestly seems aggressive. But that's sort of the aim of what they seem to be going for. And John Lithgow, I think right now, is 79. So it's, it's something of a stretch to say that he might be playing Dumbledore at the end of this. Not to say that, again, not to go to the worst possible scenario, but I mean, maybe physically, right? He just isn't able to play Dumbledore with the requirements of that role. And lest you forget that Dumbledore becomes much more active in the later books. So we'll have to see about that. But again, talent is talent is talent. So I think that it's all good from that point of view. And John Lithgow, because this was all reported, and John Lithgow has spilled the beans. He doesn't care. He's like, all those secrets that we're keeping for, from the interviewers and stuff, he doesn't care. He spills, and it sounds like, has officially signed on to play Dumbledore. So this is, he speaking in an interview, and he gave a bunch of quotes about his role in the Harry Potter series. We're going to read them out here, and we'll talk about them on the other side. He says, first of all, quote, "I don't know the Harry Potter canon by heart as 98% of the world's population seems to. It was a huge decision because it involves the next several years of my life. And I'm not young. I mean, this is the last big role I'll probably play." And that was, that's what we were alluding to just now. And, it doesn't erase those things that I was talking about, those, I'm not going to say concerns, but just other mitigating factors for sure. But it is good to see that he's aware of it. And he's like, yeah, this is going to be my last big role. Well, again, we'll talk more about all the quotes holistically at the end of this segment. Then he goes on to say, quote, when he's talking about why he decided to accept this role, quote, "My big question to them being probably the showrunners and the producers, was what is new about this? Why do more with this canon when it's already been done so well? They just made it all sound very new." Okay, it's very exciting. And the final quote, "As the kids grow older in the books, you learn more and more about Dumbledore, and he becomes so much more surprising, complicated as a character. They've described this to me, and I've got to discover it for myself and make it my own." End quote. Okay, so I think, honestly, right, because we're talking about now, first, the big news that, yes, John Lithgow has confirmed that he is going to be the next Dumbledore. And this is exciting. I think it's exciting. Just in a vacuum of get a really good actor and he's going to do a really good job as playing Dumbledore. That's great. That's awesome. I'm very excited for that. And then so that's on the surface level. And I think it's encouraging to hear some of the reasons he's giving as to why he decided to take the role. Because he said, I wanted to know, is this going to be something different and something new? Because look, I think a lot of the things that we're asking ourselves are the things that John Lithgow was asking the showrunners. How is this going to be different? You've already done this before. How do I know that this is going to be something that's, worth my time and not just something that I am going to do for the sake of doing and then, just remake something lazily? He's like, I want this to be different. I want this to be unique. I want this to be special. And in that regard, I think it's very much an encouraging thing that he was convinced, okay, this is going to be my last big role probably, and let's make it something really special. Let's make it something that is unique and different. And so I think that that's interesting. And he's right. He's right in his last quote of saying Dumbledore is a very interesting, very complicated, surprising character. He's not all good. The backstory that's explored in the Fantastic Beasts movie and in the canonical, lore about Dumbledore, he's a very complicated person, right? And a lot of pain is brought out towards the later end of the book. So I'd be very interested to see how he approaches it and where we go from there. Guys, what do you think about John Lithgow's comments? First of all, confirming that he is going to be playing the next Dumbledore in the Harry Potter TV show reboot, but also the reasons that he gave for wanting to join the TV show in the first place. Let me know in the comments down below.